the human brain. It serves as a complex roadmap of the world we experience. It gives directions to our thoughts and perceptions so we arrive at our destination safely and efficiently. But people with neurological brain disorders like schizophrenia or manic depression have been given a map with roads that don't meet where they should, bridges that are missing, and routes that lead to nowhere. If you met a fellow traveler misguided by his map, would you judge him and leave him stranded, or would you get out your map and help him find his way?
Joe Tyler, erasing the stigma. Get it, Joe. Yeah. Erasing the stigma.
Hi there, I'm Joe Tyler. Are you stressed out, wigged out, freaked out, feeling anxious, angry, or depressed? Want to know how people with real mental health problems learn to cope? Keep it right here and get the latest word from people in the field like me, Joseph Tyler, a NAMI executive director for NAMI of Nevada, and a speaker for the Cause for Mental Health, as well as a state of Nevada employee. Here on Erasing the Stigma, we take you, the viewer, into the brain's biochemistry. We got the brain here. Into the brain's biochemistry, that is mental illness, and back to reality safely. Here on Erasing the Stigma, we find hope for people whose lives have become unmanageable. So stay with us for the next half an hour as we erase the stigma for people with brain disorders. Here with me on Erasing the Stigma is a longtime NAMI of Nevada, NAMI Nevada board member, Jeannie Paquin. And she's a longtime friend. We've been to a lot of national conventions together. I think we've been to 4 national conventions.
4 national conventions, yes.
Yeah, together. And what does it feel like to go to a national convention?
Oh, it's an experience like no other.
That's cool.
It's fabulous. There's so many things to learn, so many workshops, so many new people to meet, going to see the art, going to the parties. Last time in San Diego when I went a year ago, Olympia Dukakis was there to sign her book. Mm-hmm. Got a chance to actually sit and talk with her directly. Mm-hmm. It was wonderful. You just learned so many great things.
Yeah. And I happen to have, on Erasing the Stigma here today, we're going to get into some economic issues, but I happen to have, and I hope we can get this, the cover on the cover of BP, which is definitely bipolar disorder. Mm-hmm. The Earth is bipolar, incidentally. But on the cover of BP magazine, I have actress Carrie Fisher, who is we usually use on this show as one of those people with mental illnesses who enrich our lives. Carrie Fisher, in the magazine, I'm sure we'll talk about her use of alcohol and drugs and that kind of thing, as well as which we just featured on a couple weeks ago show. She will probably talk about her. She recently wrote a book called Wishful Drinking, which is about getting off of drugs and alcohol. So it's kind of a cool article, and if you get a chance to check out the BP magazine, it's kind of a cool thing. It's published by the same organization that publishes Schizophrenia Digest, I believe, which is a cool one too. But let's moving right along. Advocacy for those with mental health issues is a chapter that I wrote for my book called A Recovery in Progress, because I am, Jeannie, a recovery in progress. And as I did last night on our monthly meeting, I'm going to read this interesting first paragraph that I wrote in A Recovery in Progress. It goes, Abraham Lincoln once said, "If you want me to do an address for 2 minutes, let me prepare for a week. If you want me to talk for an hour, I'm ready right now." He was, after all, the father of advocacy for those people with no rights at all. We people with mental illnesses are more likely to be victimized than any other segment of society, more than the elderly, who are singled out for their wisdom sometimes, and more than the physically disabled, who are sought out for their tenaciousness. We are, however, ridiculed by those in society who fear us because when we are left untreated, we are oftentimes act strangely and are set out from the rest of society. And so with that intro, I'd like to just jump around quite a bit here and talk about the economy.
All right.
Because I think that if you saw the president's address, really just night before last, I think.
Right.
Which will be a week ago when this show airs, but he's got the Econogrind in his sights, and he's drinking lots of coffee and he's getting into the Econogrind there, and
he's trying.
And he says he can't do it because he inherited it, but what's our economy look like with regard to unemployment rates for Carson City? Because you're from Carson, you're a Carson
I'm from Carson City. For Northern Nevada as a whole, our rates are over 12% for unemployment. Excuse me. Carson is a little bit lower than that. It's actually only about 12.
Because the government employs so many people. No, maybe
exactly. Well, the state capital has a lot more state employees.
Stable. Yeah.
Right. Whereas the Reno, Sparks area, that kind of area, is only about 11.5 right now. Yeah. But that indicates that's a strong indicator that our unemployment is not dropping. It is staying steadily bad. Too many people are unemployed. Businesses are still folding, left over, hand over hand. If you turn around, the people have cut hours. People have taken pay cuts to maintain the jobs they have. Mm-hmm. Everyone is tightening that belt, as you were talking about last night. Yeah. And it's getting pretty cinchy over here. Yeah. We're having trouble breathing because our economy does not seem to be growing, especially here in Northern Nevada. Yeah.
Well, and as I always indicate, having worked in the tourism industry myself, and now working in a more stable government industry or government mental health, we have tourism to rely on, and tourism is the last thing that people do is travel.
Right. It's the last place to spend their money.
It's a recreation. It's a fun thing, and tourism, especially gaming, is nobody has lucrative dollars like they used to.
Well, with the connections that I have within the community, actually I'm hearing that people are traveling a little bit more right now. My daughter is a manager of a large travel agency here in Reno, and she's telling me they've had a boom all of a sudden.
Wow.
Where for months they've had nothing. But all of a sudden people are starting to think about spring, warmer weather. Where am I going to plan for this year? I've been holding tight to that money, and now I'm going to let go of it a little bit. So they're seeing a little resurgence in the sense that they're getting a little more business. And so maybe that's a good thing because of all the industries that are semi-connected to travel in some way.
Especially here in the Reno, Carson area.
Because we need that tourism. That tourism keeps us alive. And I'm sure you've heard that a lot of the casinos, some of their money is funded into education and other areas within our local communities. We need that to continue. And so far, we're struggling to keep it.
Yeah. Okay, and then now you're a family-to-family teacher's teacher.
Yes, I am, a state trainer.
Which we hope to corral you in to getting to teach another teacher.
Oh, really? Okay.
And then I have kind of shocking you with this, I think, from the look on your face. But
I didn't expect this. I thought my teaching days in that field were over.
I don't know. Well, we'll see.
We can always talk more about it.
We can always talk more about it, okay.
I won't cross it off my list completely.
Okay. And you're also a fundraiser.
Yes, I am. I've been doing a lot of fundraising for NAMI over the last 10 years, especially the last 5 years through the Thrivent Financial for Lutherans group, which has benefited us many ways, not only with advertising, mailings, physical support, and monetary matching dollars. And I hope that we will continue with that.
Yeah, and that's really a good thing. It makes you a very valuable.
Yeah, it also connects us more to our direct community because Thrivent Financial is actually our community members. And even though their funds have also been a little more cut and a little more restricted over the last couple of years, they still want to do community outreach. And they recognize that mental health issues are one of the most important and neglected areas that we have currently. So we hope to continue to get their support. I hope you're listening, Thrivent.
They are. They will be. They will be. There's somebody out there in the Thrivent, because you're a Lutheran, right?
Yes, I am.
And so you've been involved. Are you still involved in the Thrivent organization?
No, I'm
Not
no
as much.
longer serving on the board at this current time. I have devoted myself this year for 2010 towards NAMI causes instead.
Towards NAMI stuff. Good, Jeannie. Okay. Jeannie Paquin. Now listen, we got coming up, by way of calendar stuff, we got coming up on, it won't be coming up, or yes it will be. On February 8th, this show will air on February 3rd or something like that. I can't remember, but February 8th is when the governor will do the State of the State address. And we need to stay tuned for that, because now we're going to come with fold in with some statewide issues. I'm a state employee, state of Nevada employee in mental health. My dollars come from federal dollars, so I'm pretty secure.
Oh, that's
But
good.
we're looking at maybe cuts in.
Well, with the current recent knowledge of the deficit here in Nevada, it's become very serious that Governor Gibbons is going to have to make some substantial cuts in certain budgets. From what I understand from you from last night's meeting, that we took a 13% hit the last time the budget crunch hit. And now we are worried that he's going to pinpoint us, mental health as a community, to take even further cuts over the next couple of years. It's going to be hard for us to maintain services.
Yeah.
So we need the community to be supportive, to help us where we can, and maybe even drug companies to kind of step up to the plate a little bit more. So we really, we're worried about what Governor Gibbons is going to do.
Yeah. And the whole thing comes down to our quality of life, because medications, for me, I know, represent quality of life.
Well, explain to this. If you didn't take those medications, where would you be right now? You wouldn't be a state employee.
I probably wouldn't be a state employee.
You'd probably be
couldn't-
sick or sicker and couldn't take care of yourself. I mean, the list goes on. Quality of life is one of the highest things that we have to think about. We need to keep people on medications that require that on a daily basis. There was somebody within our group recently who experienced giant price changes in medications that they require every day. That's so serious. So it's affecting a lot of people in a lot of different ways. People who are using Medicare Part D, the prescription plans, and or Medicaid combined together are also going to see some hits from the federal level that are very serious. Things like senior dimensions are changing their co-pays, changing their drug formularies, just to accommodate so that they don't lose as much money. So we have to be on our toes and be as active as we can to advocate for our mental health, consumers, so that they don't lose that medication. I personally, I'm of the feeling that your whole quality of life depends on those meds.
And in some cases, at least in my case, my productivity depends on it. Not only quality of life, but quality of life is something, but productivity with regard to how I'm able to help people in the system that I work in, or anybody is able to help people, or to work, to do their work, their job.
And it shouldn't be just a few chosen few that get medication. It should be carte blanche. Everybody should have the right to meds, to make them. This is a land, America is a land of science. We have moved forward with new generations, new brain development, those kinds of things. We need to continue that.
And speaking of, we're folding into federal.
Oh, yes.
Because some of this is federally driven too. We have here
First
tell
stamp.
us what it is. You're a stamp geek.
Yes, I'm
I
a
forgot
philatelist.
what
I'm a philatelist, and this is a stamp that was issued by the Canadian government in commemoration of mental health last September 2009. This really indicates that we, as Americans, are not the only country who are concerned about mental health issues and to support that mental health consumer. And this is a beautiful example of that.
Yeah, this is beautiful.
It's a great looking stamp.
And
it's a beautiful envelope. It's very colorful.
I think they already got in on it, but you can see the brain. If you can see that, the brain on on the side of the stamp. I don't know. I'm messing it up. That's a brain there.
It's a great photo of the side of the head shot along with the brain and the brain
On a
stem.
stamp, and they really got in on that good. That's cool.
It shows we're not alone out there.
But that's national health care,
Yes.
which folding into the federal level, this is what we're looking at, nationalized
healthcare. Exactly.
reform.
And there are a
on
lot of
national
questions
basis.
about this.
And we don't know.
We don't know a lot of things. So when you go to see Senator Reid and Ensign, you've got a big, powerful job ahead of you to ask some of those questions that represent all of us here at home. What exactly are their plans? What's their one of the most important parts is parity in this bill, and what's the definition of parity? And are our consumers going to be able to continue to get their medications at a price that they can afford, so they don't have to decide, am I going to take a pill or do I go without eating?
Yeah.
That's too serious a decision for anyone to have to make.
Yeah.
But
And that's what comes into the Medicaid, Medicare, Part
yes,
D.
exactly.
Medicare Part D.
There's so many rumors and stories floating about that Medicare is going to lose 50% of its budget. And isn't it true that they've been saying Medicare and Social Security are going to go broke for years, right? But what if you're reliant on Medicare and Medicare Part D to pay for your medications and help you with doctor bills? Because obviously, even our elder senior citizens have mental health issues. They don't evaporate as you grow older.
No, they don't.
They don't. They still need to be in attendance. You still need a quality of life, a quality of care. And we don't, with a bill that's over 1,700 pages. I don't know about you, but I don't want to read 1,700 pages.
I know.
But I want to know the gist of the bill and how it's going to affect us in our community.
We do know that the way that it was passed through the Congress or through the Senate version had a lot of
little changes
about not about parity. We're going to get to that too.
Okay.
But a lot of stuff about dual diagnosis co-occurring.
Yes.
That is mental illnesses and substance abuse issues co-occurring.
And that's
good.
And
a lot of support for preventive health. Those two pieces of it. Preventive health and substance abuse issues. And beyond that, I think that mental health, at least for indigents, is on a state's rights, on a state's inclusion thing.
Well, see, when Governor Gibbons gives his talk,
I know,
maybe we'll have a better idea of where the state stands. Because here in Nevada, Medicaid is not supplemented by our state budgets. It's strictly a federal program, and we use federal monies for it. So if we don't get federal monies for it, and Nevada is broke or poor in one way or another, we could be in serious trouble.
We could cut back on some of that.
Exactly.
They may have to cut back on some of those Medicaid services.
Exactly.
And that's what's
scary.
There's provisions for mental health. There's provisions for all kinds of different things under Medicaid. And
so we have a lot of questions.
And you know Medicaid is a federal state match.
Yes, we have to match those dollars.
So we have to match those dollars, and if the state of Nevada can't afford to match those dollars,
what do we do if we can't afford it?
We got our stimulus package back in
last year. I don't know what the status of that is. No. But I understand that there was so much infighting about that stimulus and the control and how it was going to be dispersed. So I don't know what's happened. But hearing about this huge deficit for Nevada State currently, and I am wondering what's going on with the stimulus. Where are we at? How is that going to help us? Because Nevada is not in this boat alone. There's at least 20 other states across the country who are also suffering in the same manner, who've had severe cutbacks, budget tightening, from cinching that belt so tight you can't believe it. We're not the only ones. Just even our neighbors over here in California was saying we're going to go broke. They issued IOUs for bills for a while because they needed help so badly. So we're not in this boat alone.
And I heard when I met with the drug reps earlier this week, they talked about how in California, they're from California, they said that California state employees are now taking 3 furlough days a month.
Oh my gosh.
They're taking 3
Can you imagine if you're the only breadwinner and this is your only job? how you're supporting your families. I keep thinking about all these families out there. I got medications, required car insurance, I got rent, food, daycare. I got to keep that job I've got, even if it's losing money, and I'm still not, I'm taking a budget cut per, every month. 3 furlough days could make up to $500 a month that they're not bringing home. And believe me, your rent didn't go down last week. The price of gas for your heating your home has tripled over the last 3 years. Have you looked at your gas bill lately? It's kind of scary. I'm knowing that. Same thing with Medicare, Social Security retirement, SSI, which is supplemental Social Security, and disability payments. We're not given any COLAs, which is the cost of living increase, and we will not see one for 3 years. If the gas went up, my paycheck didn't, in essence, right? So it's going to get tougher to figure out how I'm going to do. Am I going to eat, pay the gas bill, and buy my meds? It's a hard choice. And we're all facing this. We're all in this boat together. So we have to help each other the best we can. So this bill is really important, very important. I'm really passionate about this. I'm not sure, to tell you the truth, whether I'm for this idea or not, because I feel like I don't have enough information. No. There's too many questions and not enough answers at this point. The only one who really knows is the person who wrote the bill and the modifications that have taken place with it since then. And since you're going to be talking to that person, you better be ready. But I think you were right. Last night you talked about presenting our stories during that luncheon and during that breakfast meeting, rather. And I think that personalization is going to have a lot of impact on Reed and Ensign as to how they respond to that. Mm-hmm. They are, not only is Reed the most powerful man Congress has got, but he's one of ours. Mm-hmm. So we're hoping that he'll at least think of Nevada when he has to help make more modifications, or this bill is going to go through Congress.
Yeah, we don't know what's going to happen
we don't
at this
know.
point, but let's give my feathered bird a shot at the mic here. You want to take up with the open mic, little bird? He says he doesn't get his chance very much, but he'd like to do this stuff. All right, this is Buckwheat of Kilimanjaro, and he's not from Canada, he's from Africa. So a long time ago, Buckwheat's first word was hello. Now Buckwheat wants to get control and take him into me. He says, say hello, Joe. Hello, Joe. He says, say hello, Joe. Then I go, hello, Joe. Now this next whippoorwill, he can see. This next whippoorwill whistle disproves the old wives' tale that a bird that wants learns to whistle can never learn to talk. Now Buckwheat whistles at me in the morning when I'm in bed. That's a cute little whistle. See how he works his beak on that one? Now people are always, let's see, now wait, let's see. People always ask me in the bars, in the stores, in the halls, in the malls, can your bird talk? Let's ask him, can you talk? Can you talk? Can you fly, he says? That's a smart mouth little critter. He's asking whether we can fly on Medicaid and Medicare. I don't know, but
I don't know. We're going to try.
Okay, and then let's see. Every year on the 4th of July, we got a fifth of champagne and set some fireworks. No, he got messed up. Let's go back with the other one, Buckwheat, because you'll mess it up. Let's see. Now, Buckwheat's an introvert who's trying to become an extrovert. That is, his id and his superego are constantly struggling. That's why he appears to be serious on the outside when inside he's cracking up. When inside he's cracking up. He reacts to the hand signal pretty good. He takes it as a delayed reaction. An actor is at least part ham. He's a pig about your attention. He always expects you to be his fan and give him a whole hog mention.
Very nicely done, Buckwheat.
All right, then we got a couple more. Now, for all those crazy people out there, I'm so crazy. He's finishing his nut. Finish your nut, Buckwheat. Watch him howl. I'm so crazy the human side of me is a werewolf. Oh. Okay, we got one more. This is the one that was messing up and doing it before. Let's see. Every year I got my tie on, my 4th of July tie. Every year on the 4th of July we got a fifth of champagne and set some fireworks. Good bird. All right. He stole his part right out of the middle. He stole the show, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Okay. So, but moving right along, I think there was something else that I was thinking of here. The former father of our governor, former father-in-law committed suicide.
Oh.
Now, this is a two-edged sword. This is kind of a political thing.
Okay.
Because Don Gibbons' father
All right.
suicided.
Suicide. Whoa.
And this is making our governor turn against us for mental health, maybe. I mean, I don't want to be too oppositional, but I'm afraid that it's not helping us, it's hurting us. Because they went through a divorce process, and, you know, this gets to be a little dicey here. And
it was not
a very nice...
No, it wasn't a nice splitting.
It was not a nice splitting.
No. It was very messy and very public, which is unfortunate that happened. But let's hope that the governor is a better man than that.
Yeah.
Let's hope that he thinks that Nevada is really important, and that even the cuts that he had to make previously seemed like, every time I saw anything about it, it seemed like they were difficult for him to do. Mm-hmm. They were difficult to cut education. It was difficult to cut budgets across the board. It's going to even be more difficult. Hopefully, maybe the stimulus money will have brought something to the table and will help disperse a little bit. Because the truth is, without those dollars in the Medicaid matching program, how are we going to support those children that need medications and care, the elderly, the infirm, the mentally ill? All of these people require medications and care that are all connected to their quality of life, as you mentioned earlier. This is going to be a difficult time for us as Nevadans over the next 6 months to see what happens. Mm-hmm. I'd like to really believe in Obama as president. I like to feel that the importance of his office, even if I didn't vote for him, whether I did or not, is that I respect that office, and that I want to believe in our country as a whole, that we will be stronger and we will get past this.
And that's the optimistic message that I think he sent us the other night on his address, which is he was open and he joked with Congress a little bit, and we wanted to talk to them to quit bickering party-wise,
right,
and to try and do good, make good things happen. And
well,
that's what
a lot of changes happened when Mr. Brown was elected to replace Ted Kennedy. They are saying that the balance of the House will now change because of this. Mm-hmm. Now the Republicans will have the lead versus the Democrats. And it has been said, I don't know how accurate it is, that the first part of the bill for health care was passed through only the use of the Democrats, that no Republicans voted. I'd like to think that they would work together to make the best bill possible to affect the people of the U.S., you know, and I'm hoping that because Senator Reid is at the helm of all of this, that he's really thinking about Nevada and his local constituents.
Yeah. Well, I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but I don't think anybody does. But
no, we don't.
But
know.
We have addressed tonight. We've addressed the economy. We've addressed a lot of different issues: the economy, the state of the state mental health, and then of course Medicaid, Medicare, and Medicare Part D with regard to the financial status of them, with regard to the.
Now, aren't you going to Washington this year?
And I'm going to Washington
with the convention.
I'm going to Washington on February 3rd, and I'm going to be going to talk to Senators Reid and Ensign at their coffee, and then we're going to be combing the Hill.
Oh,
we're going to be going all over the Hill as a national NAMI contingency of state executive directors and state presidents and consumer representatives.
So far, NAMI is supporting this bill.
And NAMI is supporting
as an overall grassroots organization. That's great.
The Recovery Reform Act.
Well, NAMI has performed wonders with Congress previously. They've gotten parity in states that never would have gotten it without NAMI's influence. So I'm hoping that our continued grassroots influence with the Congress, when you go to the Hill, becomes really effective. And I'm sure you'll come back with some of those answers to those questions.
I think so.
That will really make a difference that we can give to our local membership, both from Carson City and in Sparks.
Good job. You're very fervent. You're quite an advocate.
Thank you.
You're really fired up today.
It's what I do.
That's what you're doing.